Who would have thought in our lifetime there could be crime in Venda? Because my Venda are bolunga kamanda man, bolunga sterek. They are not people of crime. But the most dangerous crime in Limpopo is being committed in Venda. Barona lidilo bariki Jerusalem. Cash in transit, buy better, daylight shine demon, midday 12 o'clock. No one can do anything.
On this episode, we'll be delving into the notorious gang from Thohoyandou in Venda, known as the Jerusalema Gang, also referred to as Chisole. These individuals were significant players in Venda's underworld. According to rumors, they had connections with certain members of the police in Thohoyandou. Now, the gang was involved in extortion rackets, the pimping game, and pushing dope, among other criminal activities. They were feared and commanded respect on the streets. Now, interestingly, the Jerusalema Gang was also known for their charitable acts, such as helping the poor and assisting students with their registration fees, earning them a mixed reputation as both heroes and villains. One of their most prominent leaders was a notorious businessman named Arnold Mudau, also known as Soldier or Lion of Judah. He was famous for his camouflage-themed outfits, his popular Jerusalema tavern, and his camouflage-painted house and cars. Now, Mudau's death under mysterious circumstances was followed by the assassination of almost all the gang's leaders. Now, to this day, many questions remain about what really happened to the members of this crew. Now, on this episode, we'll be exploring the hits that eliminated members of the infamous Jerusalema Gang. Historically, Venda has always been known for its natural beauty, beautiful game resorts, and the most friendliest people in the country. However, in the 2000s, things began to change. Like the rest of the country, Venda started experiencing the rise of notorious gangs that caused havoc in the communities by extorting businesses and committing robberies and heists. Now, among these criminal gangs, the Jerusalema Gang stood out, making numerous headlines in regional news. The gang was founded in the early 2000s by Arnold Mudau and Ndivheni M. Now, their name references the Jerusalema Tavern, a popular bar in Thohoyandou that they owned. The gang consisted of businessmen and gangsters in Thohoyandou in Limpopo. They were known for their flamboyant lifestyle, driving expensive cars and wearing military-style clothing, and also operating several businesses. The gang allegedly was involved in criminal activities including extortions, fraud, and hits. The Chisole gangsters would primarily fight for control over territories for pushing dope, cigarette smuggling, and securing security contracts with shop owners, particularly within the Indian business community in Venda. They were basically extorting these guys. All of this is alleged. Now, the Jerusalema, BMF, and Chisole groups were reportedly connected to the Vembe's underground mobs. Now, Vembe is a place in Thohoyandou. Now, these groups were suspected to be behind most of the violent crimes in the area. Ndivheni M was a co-founder of the gang. He spent a year and a half in prison for a hit he had not committed. According to him, he started his business with 900,000 he received after successfully suing the SAPS for wrongful arrest. He took that money and opened a bar, a restaurant, and a loan sharking business, all operating from the same building. Now, some community members have alleged that corrupt police officers in Thohoyandou were working alongside these criminal gangs. This was allegedly from the Jerusalema Tavern, of which Munyai was a director. Now, others have alleged that Munyai would allegedly prey upon owners of local Indian businesses, begging their homes for valuables as well as forcing them to pay him protection fees. Sources close to the incident reported that Munyai apparently received a call while at home. CCTV cameras at his residence allegedly captured him on his phone before a car pulled up outside. He was seen approaching this vehicle, and subsequently, he disappeared for a week without anyone knowing his whereabouts. It is said that his family did not report him missing to the police. Now, after a week, his body was found, and it was on a Friday. It was wrapped in plastic and concealed deep in the bushes in the mountains far from his home. Munyai had been murdered with a total of 28 bullet wounds. The identity of Munyai's killers and the motive behind his death were never officially revealed. However, rumors on the streets suggested that he might have been taken out by his own people over money. Now, in the years leading up to his death, many residents of the Thohoyandou area accused Munyai of fueling the violence that plagued the troubled neighborhood. Now, Ndivheni Munyai was known as one of the most feared men in the district. Arnold Mudau was a highly successful and controversial businessman in Limpopo. He co-owned the renowned Jerusalema Tavern with his partner Ndivheni Munyai. Now, opinions about Mudau were divided. Some hailed him as a hero, while others viewed him as a villain. He was accused multiple times of being affiliated with powerful criminal gangs and was feared for his ruthless tactics, which included violence and intimidation to gain power and influence in the community. He was also linked to pushing dope and other illegal activities. After Munyai's death, Mudau became the main shot caller for the Jerusalema Gang, running its operations. He was respected and held in high regard by his crew and some community members, who saw him as a Robin Hood figure due to his charitable work. His death sent shockwaves through Venda. On the 5th of Feb in 2022, Mudau was returning home from his tavern, accompanied by a passenger, when a fatal accident occurred on the R524 road in Takuma in Venda. Now, the exact details of the incident are unknown, but at some point, the SUV he was driving flipped over and it crashed. Now, the cause of the accident remains a mystery, whether the driver was hit, chased, or it was simply due to bad driving. Nobody knows. According to media reports, after the accident, nearby residents went to the scene and they found the car damaged beyond repair, and it was subsequently towed away by a tow truck. Now, Mudau and his friend were rushed to the NHC hospital in Limpopo by people who were just trying to help. Now, Mudau was pronounced dead on arrival, while his friend survived but sustained critical injuries. Mudau's death sparked numerous rumors and speculations, with some suggesting that maybe he was a victim of a targeted assassination or a murder. Now, his family denied all of these allegations. Now, despite various theories, the handling of the accident scene has been described as suspicious, leading some to believe that something is being hidden. Now, there's even rumors that this guy might be alive and hiding somewhere. Now, the truth remains a mystery to this day. Mudau's funeral was attended by many people wearing camouflaged attire to pay their respect to their fallen hero. Now, the casket was also painted in the same army camouflaged colors, representing his crew and what he stood for. Now, many spoke highly of him during the service. Now, the After Tears event was a large celebration of his life, but what really stole the show was the number of BMW E30s that pulled up to bend the rubber, a symbol in South Africa that he was a big stepper. After the passing of Mudau, a man known as the General or Maspala took over as the shot caller for the gang. Some members of the local community described Masipala or the General as a feared gangster who was involved in robberies, hits, and kidnappings. Now, in 2015, the General made headlines when he, along with his co-accused, appeared in court for charges. Among other things, there was a hit of a police officer, Detective Warrant Officer Thomas Mabada. Now, the charges were later withdrawn. On the 23rd of April in 2023, around 2:30 a.m., the General was driving back from a bar on the R524, the same road where Mudau had died. He was accompanied by a 27-year-old female identified as Miss Sabelwe, a prosecutor who was working in the Polokwane area. Unknown assailants followed them, and as they passed a mall, their vehicle was forcefully stopped. Now, unknown hitters emerged from their car and sprayed the General and his companion with a hail of bullets, taking them both out on the spot. Now, following the hit on the General, John Wick allegedly threatened to eliminate all the gang members before Christmas of that year. Now, many were taking his threats seriously. Now, the police didn't seem like they were even bothered to try and solve these cases. John Wick was known for targeting and eliminating notorious gangsters from Pretoria Township, such as the Boko Haram gang, from Mamelodi that used to terrorize the community. He operates covertly using social media to taunt his victims before striking. Now, there were suspicions that John Wick may have been responsible for the attacks on the members of the Jerusalema Gang. Two more members of the same gang were executed while relaxing at Playland Leisure Resort in Muledane. The victims were identified as Mr. Stephen Nembambula and Mr. Silas Simam, alleged members of the Jerusalema Gang. Their hits also suggested a pattern of retaliations, as prominent members of the gang were targeted without the assailant being apprehended. Shortly after that, another incident occurred when Christopher Jason Timule, a 50-year-old man from Vondwe village, was ambushed and fatally hit at Mukula village. Now, Bajay was reportedly another shot caller for the Jerusalema Gang, implicated in various criminal activities in and around Vembe, including kidnappings and possession of illegal ammunition. According to reports, the attackers intercepted his car near a T-junction, firing multiple shots in broad daylight. And those who knew Sintimule said he was a quiet guy who operated his tombstone business, but on the low, he was running things. Kwadola was a popular night spot in Louis Trichardt in Limpopo, situated at the intersection of Market and Risik Street in the city center. Now renowned for its live music, cocktails and vibrant party atmosphere, it had opened just a few weeks prior to a tragic incident. Now, according to reports, the incident unfolded when two cars arrived and parked as usual. Initially unremarkable, the situation abruptly turned horrifying when two unidentified headers emerged from their vehicles, spraying indiscriminately. Tragically, the chaotic scene resulted in the loss of Dola, also known as Chimangazo, and Riz Makuya, the owner of Kwadola. Eyewitnesses recounted scenes of panic and confusion as gunshots shattered the once peaceful atmosphere. People scrambled for cover, shocked by the sudden outbreak of violence. Now, the motive behind the attack remains unknown. Dola's death marked the beginning of the end for the Jerusalema crew. Now, in a space of 3 years, about 14 members of the crew met similar fate. Yet the gang's activities continued unabated in Thohoyandou. Some even suspected that the 19 suspects who were taken out in Thohoyandou, who were believed to have been planning a major heist in Venda and engaged in a gunfight with the police, these guys might have been connected to the Jerusalema Gang, although this has never been confirmed. The gang violent problem in Venda shows no signs of slowing down, with shootings becoming increasingly common. Now, the proliferation of used in these crimes raises serious questions about their source, with suspicions pointing towards corrupt elements within the police force and how Border Patrol facilitates illegal trafficking. Now, former police commissioner Bigicele's acknowledgement of corrupt police officers supplying firearms to hitmen fueled these concerns. Despite rumors of police involvement, law enforcement agencies has denied these allegations.
Most of these families that they've been victimized through kidnapping or hijacking, they have suffered through a lot. As you can see, these kidnappers, they're not looking whether it's a young child, he's young of age, or whether it's an old man and he's not well according to his health. So these people, they don't really have any ethics. They just kidnapping whoever they see in the street, and they expect to be paid huge amounts of ransom. And it is not really